Hello, welcome to Maternity Nursing 2. I am Ms. Kinan. I am presenting the material prepared by Ms. Eva PhD about Campaign for the Stop Movement of Violence Against Women. So today's objectives are we are going to learn about the issue of violence against women. We are going to learn the factor causing violence against women. We are going to learn about the challenges that might happen and also the four forms of violence against women, as well as the efforts that have been done to prevent violence against women. So as you know, the Kementerian Perlindungan Perempuan dan Anak, so we call it PPPA, has the siaran press or press release about the 16 days of preventing violence against women. And the issue of violence against women is very concerning around the world. 1 in 4 Indonesian women aged 15 to 16 has experienced violence, and 22.9% of adolescent girls experience emotional violence, as well as 34.51% of students are at risk of experiencing sexual violence. And these are the data that provided by the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, according to the national assessment done in 2022. And as you can see, 1 in 3 women experience gender-based violence in their lifetime, and also 16 to 58% of women and girls face digital violence, as well as there are 90 to 95% of deepfake videos are using the sexual images of women. And this is the data coming from unwomen.org that you can see from their website. What are the factors actually causing violence against women? So the first one is actually how women, they always dependent on men for their economic needing, and that's why women tend to be the victim of violence between men. Another reason is because the family poverty, like they live in poverty and there's nothing else that they can do, so the women become the target for emotional um, painful activity that is done by the men. Another reason is because the women, they have low education attainment, which then increase their potential of not understanding that there is a violence within the family, and that they actually need to be able to understand and realize that violence is being done. As other thing is because personality disorders. So some women, they are born with personality disorders, so they cannot understand that there are violence, and also they don't understand themselves, so they keep it as something that they treasure. Another thing is because their identity crisis, some of the women, they really seek for acceptance from others. They don't love themselves, but they want others to love them. That's why there are the identity crisis that's going on within the woman, and then they always seek approval from others, which then make them very prone to violence. Another reason is because there are self control that is very weak, and people do not control and regulate their emotion nicely. That's why there are a lot of women who become the target for violence. Another reason is because the positions of like attention from the family. So women seek to have approval, women needs attention, and because of that, they just turned into something wrong where the other person, they use the woman for violence instead of having love and attention. Another reason is because there are history of parental divorce that's going on. So they have the memory, the history of not being loved, and then seeing it when the father hit the mother. So then they will model that, as well as they don't have the strength to say no, because that's how it is in their previous memory of childhood, and that's also trigger them to just say nothing about violence and just keep doing what is used to be done by the mother or by the father. Another reason is there are social interactions that trigger. So, probably if you're hanging out with bad people who used to do violence against their women, and then you will then also copy the same things and think that it's normal because you've seen your friends did it to their wives. And other thing is that because the impact of social media, so social media has been very big role in our life nowadays, and we often see many things in social media that we don't really understand that it's actually violence, but then we need to improve our awareness to really see that this type of things is violence and this one is not appropriate. Another thing, we move to the challenge face and violence against women. So there are social media, the first one that becoming the very big challenges for us as well. We cannot control what it is in social media. Sometimes people just do it for fun, but sometimes the fun becomes something that is a threat to women, and yeah, we cannot control that. So there are challenges that will increase the violence that happen against women. Another reason is because of this widespread use of social media, then we need to really increase the importance of digital safety literacy and educations for women and communities. And yeah, as you can see, this is the data from UN about how many women have experienced gender-based violence in the lifetime. And also, I think as we move on with lives, we have to make sure that we really understand how to navigate through digital world, so then we will create a safe world for women and children, especially in the social media. There are four forms of violence against women. The first one is domestic violence. So domestic violence is what we know, kekerasan dalam rumah tangga. So it's like within the marriage, and um, sometimes it's really triggered by financial conditions. Sometimes it's also triggered by stress as they are managing the family, the finances, and even like the children. And if like one of the member of the family got sick, then they really got really stressed, and then that will start the domestic violence. And some of the women, they don't have the courage to move from the marriage because it is not um, a common thing to walk out from your marriage. But yeah, there is domestic violence, and as healthcare professional, we need to be able to recognize the presence of domestic violence and try our best to really um, advocate for our patient, as well as finding the help if the domestic violence occurred in one of your patient's family. Another thing, as the forms of violence against women, is what we call online gender-based violence. So this violence actually related to the social media use. So some of the people, they use AI to create videos about women that is against the role, that is like for pornography, and that's something that we need to understand. Another thing is that sexual violence. So sexual violence is the violence that happen within sexual relationship, can be between partners inside the marriage. So there will be violence to um, make the woman feel really bad about things, and yeah, do violence within that. Another thing is what we call femicide or gender-based murder. So this is the killing of women just because they are female. And we also have what we call female genital mutilation. So that's the relation with femicide. And then as you read your book and Milk book, you'll read a lot more about these forms of violence against women, and we have to think about what we can do. As healthcare professional, once you see your patient having bruises or having emotional um, hurt because of things that happen, and you know that you notice that it is a violence, you have to be able to navigate on the help that is available for the woman, as well as how then to save the woman so she will not be hurt more um, by the people to have the violence against her. Well, what we do, one of the effort that is going abroad and nationally is what we call the campaign to prevent violence against women. The campaign called 16 Days of Action Against Violence in Women. And this is called 16 Hari uh, Tanpa Kekerasan Kepada Perempuan. So from November 25th until December 10th. And what we do, we actually aligning the global action with national action. So in a global action, sometimes we have to invite all parties to reflect on the efforts to end the violence against women. Then the journalists, they have the forum, especially for women and children. And nationally, as we see, the government is now committed to resolve violence against women in cases, which is not limited to one ministry, but also to alliance. So as we approach all the rules about violence against women, then we have to understand that there is a big scale of problem that we are seeing. That's why we need to work hand in hand. Well, this is the clip, not the clip, this is captured from the UN Women website. So you can access it through unwomen.org, and then you can see the 16 days of activism. And this is the website by Command PPA. And as you can see, you can connect to SAPA 123 or 129 or WhatsApp 08111129129. And this is the line if you see any violence against women. Now we move to discussion forum. I will put this question in your forum, and I expect you to work in groups. So you have to answer about what is your commitment as a nursing student who has known Christ love to violence against women. And also, we have to do this. You have to find a case of violence against women all over the world. Should be an article, and you have to comment on this from your eyes of professional and ethical commitment, as well as from your social justice and social concern. So, yeah, thank you for this time listening to this presentation. I hope you had a wonderful learning time. Goodbye.